This is open mic night here at the Main Event. I'm your host, Main Event Mike, along with the producer, Russ Wayne, and our illustrious panel of headliners. So far tonight, we've got number one Detroit superfan in the house, Macho Maine. How you doing, Gary?
Hey, doing all right, man. Doing all right. Thanks for having me on.
Great to see you on there. We saw you in the little montage at the beginning of the game yesterday. I was like, hey, there's Gary. All right. Thanks so much for being on the show, Macho Maine. We love having you here. We're going to talk about Detroit Lions football, specifically this win over the Chicago Bears, 31-30. Lions have strung two together in a row now, and we are going to overview that entire game and dissect it. And then we're going to go to our segment we like to call Know Thy Enemy, where we are going to have a New York Giants superfan on the show, and we're going to ask him some questions that are pointed towards next week's game against the New York Giants. So, Detroit Lions football, let's get started. Oh, we've got Melvin G, Detroit Jesus, on the panel. Thanks for being here, Melvin.
Fellas? One pride. What's going on, fellas?
So happy to have you here. So, yeah, 31-30. Lions win. Two in a row.
What? Playoffs?
Yeah, it's out there now. So I want to go around the panel and get our initial reactions. Melvin, what's your initial reaction to this 31-30 victory over the Bears? Tough Bears.
My initial reaction is, the Lions did what they needed to do. You know, we've seen a lot of guys step up when they needed to step up. I mean, we got a defense. We had the defense getting them off the field on fourth down, you know, or in third downs and like that's crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like we come up with the big stops to get them off the field. Hutchinson with the big sack. Man, that was nice to see. It's been a long time coming. And man, let's keep seeing it.
Yeah, Russ, what do you got? Some initial reactions from this win?
Man, I'm still getting over my PTSOL. We're gonna explain that a little bit later. But yeah, I got through the middle of that game, and you're just thinking, you know, right when you go up and they got enough time to go score, those butterflies start, you know, they start getting in there, and then no, they overcame it. Just ended differently than it normally does, and I'm happy to get a win, man.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying with that, you know, post-traumatic same old Lions. It really felt like at the end they left them too much time, and this was going to happen. We were all feeling it. Detroit's number one superfan, Macho Maine. What's your initial reactions from this win?
You know what? It's the end of SOL. It doesn't exist anymore. These last two games proved it, man. And I know 2 weeks ago with a couple game losing streak, we're ready to give up on them. But the fans needed these wins, man. And what they showed us during that Packer game 2 weeks ago was it's the end of the game, and you know what the outcome's going to be, and you're so worried that we're going to give it up one more time. But we got these new players. They believe they can win, I think. And they're believing
Brad Holmes guy.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, and this last week, we're high-fiving, you know, we're doing shots, Jose, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, like they had 2 minutes. They had over 2 minutes when we gave it back to them.
Okay, yeah. And we held them, though. Our defense is showing up.
So, yeah, my initial reactions from the game is the same as you guys. Is like Melvin said, the defense stepped up. They were getting off the field all game. They had 2 3-and-outs in the fourth quarter. Chicago, the defense held up, got the ball back to us. We were able to get a score on defense. Just a great, Dan Campbell said in his post-game, in his press conference today, he said, a great team win. And I think that's my initial reaction, a great team win. So let's, next question. And I'd like to remind all our viewers that this is open mic night. So if you want to put in a question or a comment, put it in the comments there. We'll address it with our panel.
Yeah, check it out right there. We got Facebook user 1 saying, "Sup, fellas? Open mic tonight is tonight." Yes, you got a question mark. You can take that question mark. That's what we doing right here, right now. We got some clever little emojis right there. Time to tank, buds.
No.
Tank it. Oh man, we got to send that one around. Mike.
Tanking's not in my blood.
Oh
yeah. I can't imagine there's a player on the Lions team that wants to lose a game. There might be some pencil pusher up in the office that might want us to, but nobody on that team wants to lose a game. But I know some of the fan base does.
And no real fan wants to lose a game either.
Right.
I mean, Valenti can say what he wants. Oh, the Lions blew the first round.
Yeah.
What get out.
He's a Giants fan anyway.
That's right.
And
yeah,
I can't wait till next Monday morning. I don't listen to him that often, but I can't wait till next Monday morning.
Right.
Yeah. And
tanking isn't. I mean, don't worry. The Rams are going to tank for us.
That's right.
Well, you know what? Yeah.
So that's how I'm going to respond. Thanks so much for the comment, Facebook user. But that's my answer to that one. Don't worry, the Rams will tank for us. The Lions pick already looking better than the Rams today.
That's right.
So hopefully we can keep that going. Every week we always blame the loss, and we say, who's to blame every week? Who do we point at? Aaron Glenn, Aubrey Pleasant got the hatchet. Now, 2 weeks in a row, we get to say, who gets credit for the win? Melvin, we'll start with you again. Who do you think gets credit for this Lions win?
That defense, man. The defense as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
Not just one player, that defense as a whole. Because, I mean, okay, so really look back at the last, 3 games, really. If you're looking at Miami, Green Bay, and Chicago, okay? Like, you saw the flashes starting to kind of emerge in Miami, and then they just totally, fell to shit in the fourth quarter. But you saw the flashes. Then you see what we did in Green Bay, So this, I feel like it's starting to all kind of culminate to like they're learning how to win. You know what I mean? And that defense is showing that like they're learning how to win. And when people hear like learning how to win, they're just thinking like, oh yeah, they just need to learn how to like finish it. But learning how to win means a multitude of things. Learning how to win is like, okay, in this part of the game, I know my guy right here is weak in this situation. So what do I need to do to cover up for that? Like there's multiple things that a team just needs to learn together. So, I mean, it kind of seems like that's starting to click.
Yeah, Dan Campbell said it today that these young players are starting to trust each other. And I think that goes hand in hand with what you're saying, learning how to win. So definitely the defense gets some credit here. Macho Man, who do you think gets the credit for this win outside of the defense?
Hey, you know what? So outside of defense, because obviously it was defense. It's fun seeing Hutch out there. But we were talking about it before we got started. Our TJ who. It's our tight ends. Those tight ends that are producing. I like Jamal Williams. I really do. What he was, I was just looking at my note. 56 yards only, 15 touches, 3 point something yards per. But he's had a couple long ones. I think he's somebody that isn't going to have to give up his spot once Swift is feeling healthy. I can see Williams becoming a number 1.
Yeah, he's a 3-down back where DeAndre Swift just doesn't. DeAndre Swift seems to be fitting into that 3rd down role, and they're using him as a decoy. Maybe it's because of his health, or maybe it's because
I think it is.
I mean, if you're a coach, don't you trust Jamal Williams with the ball, and you just feel safe handing it off to him? He gets that first down at the end of the game, and we all went crazy right then. We knew the game was over at that point. Russ, what do you see as far as who gets the credit for this week?
Well, I think it comes down to, Melvin touched on it a little bit, where it's kind of like the game to me seems like a tennis game where there's a whole bunch of just volleying back and forth. There comes a couple of moments in the game where the guys got to step up, and those are the moments that we usually crumble underneath of the pressure. So I think it's the guys stepping up in the big moments, like a Jeff Okudah, and like those tight ends coming in and making big catches and big moments. You only need one catch if it's that catch.
I love the tennis analogy, and if you know anything about tennis or played tennis, what kills you is unforced errors. When you hit the ball into the net, when you hit the ball long. And I think that translates well to the penalties that was in this game yesterday. The Chicago Bears, 9 killer penalties for 86 yards, just killed them, giving us first down. The Lions, the most disciplined game I've seen them play under this regime. Only 2 penalties, only 2 unforced errors. And when you play like that, you win your set and you win your football game as well. So nice. 3 for 5 in the red zone, the Detroit Lions. 2 out of 3 Chicago Bears in the red zone. I think 31-30, a 1-point lead. I got to give the whole team as a whole as a team win. I'm going to give the whole team credit for playing disciplined and only giving up 2 penalties. Next topic, the Goffense. How about that Goffense, Russ Wayne? It's your boy. That's your boy. Stroke your boy right now.
My gosh, you got to make me feel like that every time I go in there. Whenever I got to give him a hard time, I got to give him a hard time. I give him a hard time. He deserves some credit because he played better. And he has the type of stat line that you're looking for when you want to win football games and you want to play to Jared Goff's strength. You want him throwing for about 230 and a couple tutties with a good rushing game. That's where you want his stat line to be. That was, I just think, like you had pointed out, as a well-coached game. That it kept them in it, and they got a chance to win at the end, and they did. So yes, Goff stepped up and played well. He's not Patrick Mahomes, but he did what he needed to do.
Can we all agree that Amon Ra St. Brown is an elite receiver? This guy's amazing. I mean, he's so tough, so reliable, hands are so strong, and he was coming up with the big catch, and Goff was able to find him. I do think the biggest play in the game, in my opinion, is when Goff was shoved out of bounds and they got a penalty on it, and the whole team got fired right up. From that moment,
you know what? Yeah.
Goff was able to spark this team with some emotion. He was getting in Chicago's face, which I've never seen him do that.
And that got Goff riled up.
Comment on this Goffense, Macho Man.
I'm yelling, "Don't Goff it up" at him as we're watching. I'm like, don't Goff it up. Our fantasy league is turn your head and Goff. But I'll tell you what, I love Jared Goff. We had a chance to meet him at the draft party at Ford Field this past year. Like I told you guys that. Nicest guy. Last year I didn't give him a lot last year because I wanted more out of him last year. I wanted that chip on his shoulder. I wanted him to come in. I think the first 4 games we saw him taking control of this team and acting like it was his team, and then I don't know what happened. It's just
for the first 4 games, 1 half each. You never putting 2 halves together, and we've been holding his feet to the fire on this show. Melvin, what did you see with this Goffense?
I'll tell you what I have seen is kind of a lot of the fans kind of glossing over the fact that if it wasn't for an illegal hands to the face, Goff would have thrown an interception that probably would have cost us the game.
Game over. Good call.
So, man, he's got to clean that shit up, man. And you know, I shit you not, a Bear fan literally right before that play was like, well, here comes a Goff pick 6 or whatever. And I was like, man, Goff's thrown 7 interceptions all season. Shut up. And as soon as I say that, he throws that shit to the – I was like, no. And I seen the flag, so thank God we got saved for that. But I think that should be pointed out that, I mean, he's costed us games before with interceptions. So, I mean, you got to buckle that down, man.
That's a great call out, Melvin. No doubt about it. They're up 2 scores at that time. If there wasn't for that illegal hands to the face, that probably was the ball game, right? I mean, Justin Fields had just run a 60-yard quarterback draw on us to go back up. So, oh man. But you know what? That illegal hands to the face was legit. There's this bogus meme going around that shows the defender with his hands on his shoulders at the time. Let that go a couple more frames. He got throat punched or something on that. They had to cart him off the field. Trinity Benson had to be carted off the field after that hit. So I don't know how illegal hands to the face get you on crutches, but I'll take it because that was a huge play and that was a great call out from Detroit Jesus. But I will tell you something that I did see in Chicago yesterday, and that was this kid that I didn't have much belief in, and his name is Justin Fields. This kid was pretty impressive. He was impressive throwing the ball. He was impressive running the ball. When you consider he's so young, he did make some mistakes, but he coming off a week where he broke Michael Vick's single game rushing yards for a quarterback, he absolutely torched the Lions. They didn't seem to have any answer for him running the RPO. It makes me wonder, is this guy for real? And is this what we're going to see as the future of the NFC North? Is it going to be running through Chicago and not Green Bay anymore? Are we seeing the emergence of Justin Fields? I'm going to give this one off to you, Macho Man, first. What do you think?
I'm telling you what, even before the game started, those commentators were just fanboying, talking about how great Justin Fields played last week, even though the Bears lost. They made that first drive down the field. I thought, is our defense ever going to step up and try to stop this guy? Like, we couldn't stop the run. We couldn't stop his run. And then, one of the guys I'm with is like, well, it's the quarterback, and they're all afraid to touch him if he's going to run, if he's going to slide.
Yes, but are you worried about the next 10 years, Gary, because of this guy?
Oh, no. We know our defense had to step up this year. We know that we're still missing some pieces. No, I think definitely it's a guy like that that's going to keep us on our toes, though. And they'll definitely be the challenges, for sure. Now, the Bears are going to bring it the next time we play them. They will.
They're going to come. They're going to come to Ford Field with a chip on their shoulder. Melvin, what do you think? Are we seeing the emergence of Justin Fields, the next Lamar Jackson?
To me, it's kind of a little more TBD. You can't deny his running ability. That's off the charts. Like he's a star when it comes to that. I need to see more from his passing. I need to see him be in the pocket and passing more and be more consistent when he does. They're not doing a lot of that with him, but it's still what I want to see is when they do, how consistent is he and can he stay consistent? Because even he's still kind of sporadic now, but he does make some nice ass throws. As far as
are you worried about the next 10 years because of this guy?
Man, if we do what we're supposed to do, we shouldn't be worried about anybody.
Which is what Gary was saying. That's a good call. Russ, what do you think? You're Buckeye boy. Is this guy gonna be the next thing we got to worry about in this division?
Well, if we're judging by what we've seen, yeah, he's learning how to impose his will with his skill set. The guy's unbelievably fast, and he does have an arm when he is protected. But if he wasn't going to be a dead body by the time week 8 hit around, he was going to have to move around and make some things happen. He's got some abilities there. I think I'm more worried about him as long as it's a health. He doesn't get hurt. I'm worried about that skill set because of how he can play off the run and pass, where he can kind of if you're going to move your safeties up, you can chuck the ball down the field. If you get it to the outside of the pocket and you ain't got a guy spying, he'll just run for 10 yards. That's really hard to stop in the NFL. So if he's learning how to game manage and learn how to not make the mistakes, I think he just needs to learn how to trust his teammates. And I think he's going to be a wrecking ball if he can learn how to trust his teammates.
Well, I think he's going to go the path of RG3. If you remember, RG3 was running all over everyone as well. And I just don't think the kid's going to be able to hold up to continue like this. He's going to get killed. And there's no way he's going to go 8 years deep into a career at this pace. Lamar Jackson hasn't been able to do it. He's morphed into more of a passer, and he's changed his game so that he doesn't have to take so many hits. Josh Allen, when is this kid going to slow down? I just don't see Justin Fields holding up over that long of a period of time, but I certainly am impressed with him. Next topic. The Lions, as we know, are building this team, and then our plan is to drop in a quarterback. Chicago's already got their quarterback, is what it looks like. The rest of the team just kind of sucks. So whose rebuild do you like better, Melvin? Do you like the Bears? Are they going to get there faster because they got a quarterback, or do you like the way the Lions are building? Which rebuild do you like better?
I definitely like how we're I love how our rebuild's going. We're drafting some guys, and I like Holmes. I like what Holmes is doing and everything. But at the same time, I can't take anything away from the Bears right now because look, next year they're sitting on 130 million cap space.
Good point.
Come on,
that's a huge head start. You know what I mean? If you wanna dump some gas in the engine and make it really go, that's how you do it right there. With 130 million, So yeah, they're going to be drafting and whatnot. But if they really want to quick start that thing, they can. They have the ability to do so. I wish we would have started with that ability. We even this year, we had a little bit. It wasn't nothing major, and it mostly went to re-signing our own guys. So, right. And even next year, it's not like there's an abundance. So it'd be nice to have that kind of cap space.
But that's a great point. They've got their quarterback and $130 million. So that might put them ahead of the Lions in a rebuild. Russ, I'm going to kick this one over to you. What do you think?
Oh, man, I really like the rebuild thing because it reminds me of John Madden football, man, because The Bears, I'm actually envious a little bit of their situation with $130 million to play with. That's some that's like going into franchise mode. You trade all the good players, you grab your draft picks real quick, and then you spend all the money in the offseason to get all the guys that you want. They get to do that. Now, I like our position better as far from the younger positions. We got better draft capital than they do.
Higher draft picks. Yeah.
I think that if you look 3-4 years down the road, I think that we're going to arrive to the full team faster than they will. But I mean, having a quarterback in place, if they like him, as long as he's not the dead body of Justin Fields, I like their situation as long as he's not dead by this time next year. But I would say that I like the Bears a little bit better than ours, but I still like ours.
Here lies Justin Fields. He rushed for 1,100 yards, and they won 5 games. Right. Good point. Macho Maine, what do you think? You like the way Detroit's building, or do you like Chicago's rebuild strategy better?
Well, you know what? Those commentators weren't boasting about how great Jared Goff played, how great Jared Goff played last week, and they weren't building him up before the game like they did Justin Fields. Quarterbacks that first man position, you see it, you need it. I like what we're doing. I like the pieces we got on defense, because we know defense is going to win us games, and so I like what we're doing there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are we going to have 60 or 65 million in cap space?
No, I don't think it's that much. I think that there's got to be moves that have to happen.
We actually have to cut players to be at like 68 million next year.
Okay, well, and that's if we don't renew Goff, I think.
Right, that's what it was. It was we had to cut
I think
Goff.
That's what it is. Yeah. And it was cut. It was letting TJ go, and then cutting Goff. I think
Rockers and Vital.
Rockers.
Yeah. Yes.
Which do you like better, Gary?
I'm loyal to my Lions, but I like what the Bears have right now. It'd be nice sitting on a checkbook with 130 million to go. Let's go out and get this, and this. But I'm gonna tell you, we've got weapons on wide receivers. We know we've got some players at tight end. We need some defense players, but the QB is really going to be that. If Goff can show us and come out this next year, the rest of this year with that fire we saw after he got pushed. Win me back, Goff. I want to see Goff win me back. I want to see Goff take the reins again.
I flip-flopped on Goff 2 or 3 times this year. So I just don't know. I'm stymied on that one. Thanks, guys. Next topic. As we alluded to earlier, the Rams, their season's going down the tubes. Cooper Kupp now hurt. Matt Stafford with a concussion. Their draft pick is looking pretty juicy right now. And if they continue to struggle, the Lions could be looking at possibly 2 top 10 picks. Russ, why don't you lead us off with what's that mean for us?
Well, I don't want to hear about that other top 10 pick, but I think that their pick could definitely be a top 10 pick, and it would mean the world. I'd said at the beginning of the season that if Stafford, Kupp, Donald, or Ramsey go down, that team is only as big as those walls that are built around those players right there. They don't have the horses past those elite players. So those guys go down, and now they're paying for it. That was the stuff that pushed them over the edge, but they couldn't afford to have anybody get injured.
They're going to change the mascot to the tampons, I heard.
Oh, come on now.
Because they don't have a second string.
Oh.
Man, but no, I mean that pick is looking better and better and better by the minute, and they can keep on losing, and we can keep on winning as far as I'm concerned. Let's go.
Melvin, what do you think about this draft pick sweetening up better than we ever thought it would?
Yeah, I was just talking about this the other day with somebody. I was saying that, I don't think they were quite top 10 bad. I thought they were, top 15 bad, but Kupp just goes out. So, who knows? Has anybody heard anything on that? What it's looking like?
They're being real close to the vest about it. Russ, what did you hear about it today?
It said that he was questionable for next week, which tells me that it's not as serious when they're wondering. Usually when it's season ending, they say something like it doesn't look good or something along those lines, but they're saying he could possibly play next week. So
it looked pretty bad though, right? I mean, the knee got rolled right up under.
It definitely looked bad.
It looked pretty ugly. It kind of like if Cup's coming back, Stafford comes back. Like I say, I kind of see him in that like top 15 range. I don't really see him be like they're bad, but they're not like top 10 bad to me. I think they can still squeeze out some games. So I see him, maybe around 12 to 15 pick.
What do you think, Macho Man?
Yeah, you know what? I was just looking at what our picks are projected right now, and I think it's 8 and 11. So yeah, if those come down a little bit more, we say we got two of the top 10, or even those.
Which one's 8 and which one's 11?
I think the Rams is the 8.
Yeah, that's right.
I believe so. Am I right on that?
I think
yes, you are.
Yeah, it's not going to stay that way.
They got to play Geno Smith again.
Let's go.
So, Russ, is our special guest in the house yet?
Our special guest is here. Can I hit a couple comments?
Yeah, let's hit a couple comments. We'll call our guest.
Oh, man. Greg Rice is back there. He says tampons. He loves tampons. What's up, gents? I love you too, Greg, and we miss you. We hope that phone thing gets fixed out, and that Verizon sends you a brand new phone last week. I mean, you even plugged them and they screwed you over. Hutch has been showing out this year. This dude's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Did anybody see that? Did you see that play on the goal line where he flew from the end and corralled the guy around the net?
Yeah.
What a great play. Melvin, what did you see from Aiden last week?
Man, he's a player. He's a player. Like, people are getting on him because, he's only done something in like, shut up, man. Like, he's a rookie. He's not going to be consistent. Like, he's not going to do something. Like, he's not going to be, like, eye-popping every single game. Like, show me a rookie who in this league right now who's the top defensive end who's just, like, eye-popping his rookie year. Like, there's going to be inconsistencies. He's got to learn to be a pro. He will learn there. He will get there, and he'll be dominant.
Yeah, Hutch is already leading all those rookie ends in every category. So,
well, what I meant is like if you look at like Chase Young, like his season, like, yeah, he like at the end you can say, oh, he had 7.5, but like while you're watching the season, it's not like he's blowing up every single game. You know what I mean? Right. Like, people just expect that. Like, he's just supposed to come out the gate. Oh, he's supposed to be 12 sacks. No, like, stop.
Right. Yeah, I thought Aiden looked good. He did have a sack, and he did have a pressure, which caused the pick 6. You don't see that in the stat line much, but that really was impactful. Him and Isaiah Buggs putting pressure on Fields and made him make a bad throw, and Okudah took it to the house, which was great to see the kid Okudah get his first pick 6. Yeah, if you want to have your voice heard, step up to the mic. It's open mic night here on the main stage. And we are going to move to our next segment now. And it's a segment that we like to call
Know Thy Enemy.
Lions now with 3 wins. They have equaled their win total from last season. And that makes us happy. But we got to put it in the rear view because we got a tough team coming that we got to go out to New York, New Jersey, and play a tough team, and that's the New York Giants. And for our Know Thy Enemy segment, we are bringing in New York Giants superfan Dan Leonard. Dan, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Big fan of Big Blue all your life?
Born that way, man.
All right, where do you live, Dan?
I live in Pennsylvania right now. I grew up in Jersey. Most of the family's Giants fans, outside of my mom, who's a weirdo Dolphins fan.
Because she can remember when they were good.
She left an autographed Dan Marino game-worn jersey.
Wow. So your mom was a big football fan. That's great, man. So you're a Giants fan, and your team is 7-2, which none of us predicted. None of us could even see that coming. Is this team for real, Dan, at 7-2, or is this like the worst 7-2 team in history?
That's a hard question. Well, I don't think the team is good. I think that they're not making mistakes. They're playing good, sound, fundamental football. And we have a coach that knows how to make adjustments at halftime. 6 of the 7 games we've won this year, we were trailing by like 10 points in the fourth quarter, and we came back.
Yeah, that's good coaching, right? Yeah, that's a great point and a great call-out. So, just quick, yes or no, is this team for real?
I'm going to say yes until they're not.
Okay, that's a good enough answer. Now we're going to kick it around our headliner panel. Russ, what do you got for the Superfan?
Well, I mean, we had hey, welcome to the show, Dan. I'm sorry, I'm just jumping right in here, but I wanted to give the comparison of Hutch to Thibodeau. It was the biggest talk about it talked about thing, during the draft process. How are you liking how Thibodeau is playing, and I don't know what your knowledge is of how Hutchinson is doing. Cross-reference those two draft picks and see. Tell me what you think.
Well, Hutch got to start right off the bat playing. Tibbs was out for like the first 3 weeks with some knee injury. He's got like 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovered this season so far. He's not playing a huge part of the defense, really. Like, he's not making a huge impact, but not a single player on that team, defensive-wise, outside of Dexter Lawrence is.
Macho Man, you got a question for our panel, for our guest?
Yeah, and kind of two, if that's all right. How do you feel about Kenny Golladay?
I don't know if I can answer that with
You're allowed, because here's a guy that we didn't want to pay him, but Stafford, when he was throwing to him, made him a star.
Yeah, your team gave him a bag. How do you like him?
I know. I love Golden Tate though. When Golden Tate, we didn't renew him. He came to the Giants. First impression of Golden.
I love Golden Tate.
Yeah.
I just like the way he played. He's that small guy. He didn't mind doing the dirty work. Golladay is on like Jamarcus Russell's level of robbing the NFL, honestly.
Oh, wow.
I hate the guy.
Jamarcus Russell, the worst of all time.
Yeah, I'm going to put him right there. $72 million. Like, you guys offered him $19 million a year to stay in Detroit, and he said no. He didn't want to stay there. And then, of course,
I wouldn't stay for $19 million either.
Dave Gettleman freaking, in his infinite wisdom, decided, hey, let's bring him in here, and he doesn't play. And all I can think to myself about all that is, we traded away OBJ to sign Golden Tate and Kenny Golladay to that huge contract. We could have kept OBJ for like half of it.
Gettleman was terrible, wasn't he?
Yeah. His first signing was Jonathan Stewart to a $20 million 2-year deal.
Wow. And the Golladay signing, and now they've run him out of town. And you got to like what you got there now, though, right?
Absolutely. Joe Schoen's doing great. I like the coaching staff he brought in. Brian DeBall, I think, is amazing. He did great work with Josh Allen out in Buffalo. Wink Martindale, probably one of the best defensive coordinators in all of football. And I have no idea who the hell Mike Kopka is, our offensive coordinator.
Right. Well, yeah, Wink Martindale architected the Baltimore Ravens defense for so many years. Melvin G., any question for our guest?
Before I get into the question, I just want to correct real quick that Kenny Golladay wanted $19 million. We said no, so that's why he left Detroit. Like we didn't offer him $19 million. We offered him like 15 or some shit. Like, we'll get you like 15, and that's where we're going to limit you at. And he said no to that.
It's 14 worth more than he's worth.
That's a great call out. We dodged a bullet not giving him $15 million.
Oh, absolutely. So we obviously we know we have to worry about Saquon, but how do you think our secondary will match up with your wide receivers? I mean, they haven't been the greatest. Your team kind of runs through Saquon.
The team does run through Saquon, but you know what? Jones is making smart throws to our wide receivers. We don't go deep a lot. Everything's over the middle, a little drag routes. You got guys in motion a lot. So what I think is you guys are going to end up having to bring Okudah down to the line to help with Saquon because we're going to run the ball 30 times, no problem. Like, no question, it's going to be 30 times plus run. So as soon as they bring him in there, Wan'Dale Robinson has been sneakily getting better the past 3 weeks. He's tiny and catches stuff. I don't expect you guys to have to defend a 200-yard passing game by any means.
Yeah, Daniel Jones last week, under 200 yards. Giants still beat the Texans 24-16. So definitely it's Saquon run left, Saquon run right, Saquon catch one out of the backfield. That's the whole game plan, it seems like. So outside of Saquon, who do we have to worry about?
Daniel Jones when he breaks out on the RPO and Wan'Dale Robinson. Because our other actual threat on the team was Daniel Bellinger, the tight end, but he's been out because of that eye injury that happened because of Devin Lloyd in Jacksonville when he had to get that plate put in his eye.
Okay, so we got to worry about a 5'7" rookie and a quarterback that went to Delaware.
He went to Duke,
that boy can run. He's fast as shit.
He's faster than Justin Fields.
But I tell you
Faster
what,
than
this is what you
Justin
do.
Fields.
But what you gotta do is like when he starts to take off, like don't like if you're the safety, don't chase him. Just like run over to where he's gonna run and stand there because he can't move. He can fly down the fast, but the field will trip him up in a hot second.
He has no agility at all. He's just damn fast.
At all.
No agility at all.
Just stand in front of him and say, "Make a move, motherfucker." Like.
But I'll say this: he could put his shoulder down like Fields and Josh Allen do, though, and run through somebody.
Okay. So, Dan, if you're the GM, they did not pick up the 5th-year option for Daniel Jones. So if you're the GM, are you going to re-sign him?
Me personally, I'm going to re-sign him. We're going to get at least 10 wins. In my mind, you don't let a quarterback go that gets you to 10 wins and then start Tyrod Taylor, who's thrown 3 passes since 2021.
You had him last year and you didn't get 10 wins.
We didn't have a coach or an offensive line, really.
You don't have any receivers this year.
Nope. And
the guy gets you 10. The guy gets you 10 wins, and so you re-sign him then.
I'm going to re-sign him, absolutely, because we finally did something smart. We gave him a coach who knows what he's doing. We addressed our offensive line. You got to think, in his 4 years, this is his 3rd coach already. The 3rd offensive system.
So was this a prove-it year for this regime then?
Absolutely.
Okay, and he's proven it in your eyes.
Him and Barkley both.
Him and who? Oh, Saquon. So Saquon, though, would be looking like a max deal, like top 5 paid players in the league, or definitely top 3 at his position. Would you be on board with that?
If he doesn't get injured for the rest of this year, yeah, I'm on board with it, but you got to put an injury clause into that contract.
Yeah, well, even after what you've seen happen to Ezekiel Elliott, what his contract has done to the Cowboys, you still think that you give that kind of money to Saquon?
Yes, because he is our offense. Like, as you said, our receivers are crap. Yeah. We had David Stills starting from us, who was on a practice squad. We just took Isaiah Hodges off of Buffalo's waivers 2 weeks ago, and he's already had a better career with the Giants than Galladay.
Yeah, they just called him back to work at Walmart, though.
Exactly.
So he's Melvin, what do you think?
I had to say, like, you know, you don't have Gettleman anymore. So I don't think, like, you got, like, smart teams don't give that running back those big contracts. Like, we've seen it over and over again, except for, like, you know, Derrick Henry. Like, you get burnt on it. You know, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get burnt. Man, and with his injury history, I don't think y'all give him that big deal.
I agree 100% with that. Russ, what do you think? Saquon Barkley, would you give him a big max contract?
Man, and here's the thing. Let's use Christian McCaffrey. I mean, how's that working out? Like, when you sign these guys, when you have a guy that isn't going to touch the ball as many times as some of the other people, like when you're giving them a percentage of the salary cap like that, it's like, how often does that work unless you're betting on that year? Like, I wouldn't give him a max contract to build around him. I would give him a max contract to drop him into a team that needs a running back to win the Super Bowl. That way you have those 2 years to compete. But as far as building around him, you can't build around running back with when you have so many other holes.
Right. Well, New York Giants, Detroit Lions next week. Dan, thanks so much for being on the show. We got a couple more questions for you. In your opinion, what are the keys to winning for the Giants to beat the Lions?
Pressure Jared Goff.
Put some pressure on him.
Yep. That's basically it. Stop Goff. All we got to do is literally slow down your offense a little bit, because I don't see your defense really stopping any running games this year.
You said stop Goff. That's the key. I said no one ever, probably.
But we let up rushing yards every week, but we don't let up touchdowns. We have a very good red zone defense.
Okay.
The only chance is get a lucky shot for like 30, 40 yards, get in there.
All right. So now we're going to kick it and flip it over to Macho Maine. What are keys to winning for the Lions to beat the Giants?
Defense. It's stopping Saquon. It's Goff being smarter. It's him being smarter, throwing better balls, throwing them higher maybe. He's had a lot of deflections, it seems.
Short-armed a few as well.
Yeah, he's got to throw smarter. We need Goff to play smarter football, and I think we'll win. Our defense has proven it. They can show up. Now we got to get more points on the board.
Okay, Melvin, what do you think the keys to winning for the Lions are?
Honestly, I think the last few weeks, I think the Lions' run defense has stepped up a little bit. I know it didn't really show up like that much this last Sunday, but you got to take into account, like, you know, when even when Fields is handing that ball off, you know, you're still worried about it being a fake or whatever, and him, you know, running on your ass. So, you know, the kind of the ass we gave up to the running backs against the Bears, I think, was more attributed to just being so scared of Fields and what he's going to do. I don't think we have to so much stop Saquon, just slow him down. You know, slow him down a little bit and force New York to put a little more on Daniel Jones' plate. And, you know, I think we can come out of there with, you know.
Yeah, make Daniel Jones beat you. Don't let Saquon be the one who beats you. Great call out.
Commenting on Daniel Jones there, I just want to put out there, last week he had two incomplete passes, both of them off Galladay's hands, 153.3 passer rating, and he is now the 8th highest rated quarterback in QBR in the entire season.
What do you see as the most intriguing matchup in this game?
The one that I really want to see is if you guys are going to line Aiden Hutchinson up against Andrew Thomas.
Okay, tell us about that. What are we in for?
Andrew Thomas is the highest rated offensive lineman in all of football. He's let up no sacks and 1 pressure all season.
Wow. All right, well, we got more than Aiden on the defense, so that's a good call out as well. Melvin, what do you see as the most intriguing matchup in this game?
This entire defensive line against Saquon.
Right on. Macho Main, intriguing matchup.
Defense, and their run game. I'm excited to see just everything Hutch is doing right now and what Hutch just continues to do. He's having fun as long as he stays healthy. I think our defense is going to be a key component this year to us getting a few more wins. Playoffs. What?
Right. Hey, Macho Man, can you give us one before it gets too far into this?
Oh, yeah. One of those? Hey.
Macho Man, Detroit Lions SuperFan. And we'd like to thank our SuperFan, Dan Leonard, for the New York Giants being on the show today. And I'd like you to give me a prediction. Who's going to win the game and what's going to be the score?
Well, of course, I'm going to have to go with my Giants. I think it's going to be like 28-20.
28-20 Giants is what Dan predicts. Well, Dan, we're going to let you go so you don't have to listen to us be homers on the Lions against the team. We don't want to put you through that.
I deal with enough of that already, I know.
Hey, we can't thank you enough for being on the show. It's so great. By the way, do you think Hoffa is buried in one of the end zones?
No. If anywhere, he would have been in the 50-yard line of the old stadium. But, you know, that's a parking lot now. That's a parking lot now.
Well, all right, Dan, thanks again for being on the show. And we wish you the best of luck in the game next week. Not really.
Let's pray for no injuries for either one.
I agree with that.
I like that.
Amen.
Know thy enemy.
That was Dan Leonard, New York Giants SuperFan, here on the main stage. Russ, before we get into predictions, we got anything from the open mic?
Well, let's go look. Well, Greg's been on here. Greg is letting everybody know that he is going to be on next week. And Melvin, you do know that Greg is a Thibodeau guy. That's what he says. So
he did want Kayvon Thibodeau, didn't he?
Yeah. He wanted Thibodeau. He is glad that we have Hutch and he's enjoying the show. Okay, what are your thoughts on Dan Campbell and the future with him? Is a question from one of the Facebook users. You want to answer that first, Melvin?
We got to see how this season plays out. Like I said, you know, as long as we can, you know, get to like 6 wins, then I think we're on the right track and we're in good hands. Like, this team plays hard for him. This team loves him. So let's see where it goes after the season.
Macho Main, same question.
Hey, gonna echo that as well. I'd love to see more than 6 wins, but a couple games ago, I think a lot of people were calling for him to go already. I've liked Dan from the beginning. I think he's probably made some bad play calls. You know, games 5, 6 maybe. I think we pull out a few more wins. I know our players love him. Our fans like him, and guys, we've talked. We needed him after we were stuck with Patricia. We needed a completely different culture in Detroit. We needed Dan to come rebuild, and be a coach players will bleed for, and they'll run through walls for that guy.
My take on Dan Campbell is he's good for now. I am not on board with this guy being the future, though. I mean, he's made some blunders that I just can't excuse this year. And I want to see us get not a guy who's learning. I don't want a guy who's learning on the job. Sure, he seems like an awesome guy. Players love him. But, man, I want a real coach to take us to the promised land, and that's what's going to take. All right? I mean, you're talking about bringing in a new franchise quarterback through the draft. Is Dan Campbell the guy you want to shepherd a new quarterback through the league? A guy who can barely get through his own, curriculum as a coach. So, no, I'm selling on Dan Campbell. Thanks so much for the question, though. That's my opinion. Russ, you got an opinion on Dan Campbell?
I love Dan Campbell. Stone
He
Cold.
likes Metallica.
The bottom line. That's the bottom line. Because Dan Campbell says so. That's right. I love Dan Campbell, man. I want him to win so bad. I want everybody to be wrong on him. I want everybody to jump back on the wagon once he goes through these coaching things. I thought he did coach a better game, so I'm not off the Dan Campbell train. I won't until they get rid of him. I love Dan Campbell. I think he's a great fit for the Detroit Lions culture. I want to win a Super Bowl with this guy.
One more
Go
thing,
ahead,
man.
Melvin.
I'm not saying this as like a prediction for how Dan Campbell's career is going to be, but every great coach, like they weren't great. They started off as just a guy.
Yeah.
Even Belichick.
Yep.
Great point. I trust Brad Holmes more than I trust Dan Campbell. So I want to see who Brad Holmes picks as the coach for this team. I think I'll have more faith in that than Dan Campbell 10 years from now. What else we got?
Well, we got one that said, "Hey guys, this is the first time that I've been here. It's a great show." And I think that he was going to say, where can I find you? So I'll give him the plug. Can I give him a plug?
Give him a plug.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a plug right there. So we're the Main Event 365. You can find us on YouTube at Main Event 365. Find us on Instagram, anywhere that you can get social media. We throw a feed out there for these. This is a live show every single Monday. And Mike and I do a show on, we record it on Tuesdays and we release it on Thursdays. That's a podcast. It started out as a
Anywhere
podcast.
You get your podcast, the Main Event 365. All right, time now for predictions. Russ, we're going to start with you because you're on the screen and talking. What do you got? Who wins this game? Giants, Lions. What's the spread?
So we're going to homer it out right there.
Melvin, you know the spread?
3.5.
So Giants favored by 3.5 at home.
So the Lions going to MetLife Stadium to try to get 2 wins in a row. And not only 2 wins in a row, 2 road wins in a row. We went 13 games without winning a road game. But now I think that we're going to start this thing. It's called, once you have 2 in a row, this Lions fan, I'm going to educate you here. Once you win 2 in a row, you go for this thing called 3 in a row, and that is called a streak. I think that we're going to cover this. I think that we're going to win the game, and it's going to be low scoring. They're going to play right into our wheelhouse. They like to run. We like to run. They want to limit these possessions. I think it's going to be really low scoring. I think that we win 13-10 on a last-second field goal.
All right, I like it. Macho Maine, I need you to give me a winner and a score.
Lions with the win, 24-21.
All right. Melvin G, Detroit Jesus.
I'm on board with my man Russell. 3. We're going for 3. I feel like they're kind of feeling themselves right now after coming off 2. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they're getting a little confidence under their belt, and I think we go into New York, and I don't think it's going to be real high, but I think it's going to be a little higher than what Russell predicted. I think it's going to be more 24-17 Lions.
All right.
24-17 Lions, a touchdown. All right, so that leaves me. Sorry, guys. I don't think the Lions are going to win this game. They are in danger of losing their website, by the way, I was told, because they can't string 3 W's together. So we'll see.
Says a man wearing a Lions jersey and hosting a Lions webcast.
Hey, I'm not a freaking homer, though. I'm gonna tell you, I think we're gonna get out coached. This Brian Daboll guy, slick. Wink Martindale, one of the best in the business, just like our giant superfan said. And I think we're gonna get out coached, and we are on the road. I do think that we're gonna lose a close game. I'm gonna say 21-20. The Lions lose, so take the points, is what I'm saying. Lions are gonna play them tough. They're not a good enough team to steamroll us. They don't have enough horses on the outside to steamroll us like the Seahawks did, or put up that kind of points on us. I think it'll be a low scoring game. I agree. So 21-20 is my prediction for the game, with the Lions taking the L. Anybody else got anything to chime in? We got any more comments from the open mic?
Well, we did get a thank you for answering. I really like him. He needs some work. He can help us out. He's talking about Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
And I think that it might grow into the future. He thinks he could be the coach of the future. And we have a few years perhaps before going to the promised land. And Greg Rice, thank you for that comment, by the way. Greg Rice says 28-24 Lions win.
All right.
Homering it up tonight. I love it.
Right on.
Playoffs.
Hey, man, I can't thank you guys enough. Macho Maine. When's the next road game, Macho?
You know, we were talking today. We might we went to New England, and we usually do at least one a year. We're probably going to do that last game in Green
Lambeau?
Bay. Last game at Lambeau.
Oh, yeah. What do you know the date on that?
January. Is it 7th? It's
Lambeau in January. Ought to be fun.
Oh, it's going to be a freezing good time.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that one.
Yeah.
So, hey, for our producer,
8th, January 8th.
Melvin G, the Detroit Jesus, and Macho Maine, Detroit Superfan. I'm Main Event Mike. Thanks so much for being on the main stage. God bless you all. Peace out.